The breaking news out of Idaho, Bryan Kohberger set to appear in court in about 90 minutes from now. He arrived, of course, in Moscow last night after being extradited from Pennsylvania, wearing that jacket over his orange jumpsuit. This is the new mugshot of Kohberger, released after his arrival in Idaho. He will also be face-to-face for the first time with the victim family members. They are expected to attend. Court TV has teams in both Idaho and Pennsylvania. Chanley Painter is in Moscow, Idaho. Julia Jenaé in Monroe County, Pennsylvania. Let's begin the hour, though, with Chanley, who has a look at what is expected today.
Hey, good morning, Ted. We are expecting accused mass murderer Bryan Kohberger to make an initial appearance inside the courthouse behind me. This after he arrived here to the jail last night. While being held here at the Latah County Jail, he's being housed in a cell by himself, kept separate from other inmates. His private single-engine plane arrived at the Pullman-Moscow Regional Airport last night. Then the authorities transported him here to the Latah County Jail, where media surrounded the parking lot as he entered. Later today, he is expected to make his first appearance in front of Latah County Magistrate Judge Megan Marshall. That court appearance will be in Courtroom 1 at the courthouse adjacent to the jail. At that time, the quadruple murder suspect will hear his rights and the charges against him. He will not be asked to make a plea, but the court will schedule a preliminary hearing. We are also expecting that probable cause affidavit to his arrest warrant to be unsealed now that Kohberger is in the state of Idaho. It could reveal some critical details and answer several questions, including what the information is that justified Kohberger's arrest. For now, the country and the families of the 4 victims wait for any answers in the long process for justice. Reporting in Moscow, Idaho, Chanley Painter, Court TV.
Thanks to Chanley. She, of course, will have live updates throughout the day here. She'll be in the courtroom as Kohberger makes his first court appearance. Let's turn now to Julia Jenaé, who is in Pennsylvania, where she has a closer look at Bryan Kohberger's upbringing and life there in that state.
Idaho authorities and federal investigators say they had been watching Bryan Kohberger for days, and they tracked him cross-country from his school housing at Washington State University to this location, his parents' home inside of this private community in the Poconos Mountains in Pennsylvania. This is the hometown of this suspect in those murders. What they also found at this location was a white Hyundai Elantra, something that authorities had been having the country on the lookout for weeks. Handcuffed and dressed in a red jail uniform, Bryan Kohberger, the PhD student, made his first appearance as a defendant in a Pennsylvania courtroom. He was arrested at home with his parents on December 30th, wanted for the murders of Madison, Kaylee, Zayna, and Ethan, 4 college students in Moscow, Idaho.
While I monitored the investigation into the horrific murders of the University of Idaho students, I did not imagine the investigation would lead to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania State Police were asked for their help in his capture after Kohberger was identified as a suspect.
In the early hours of Friday, December 30th, those warrants were executed at the location. Mr. Kohberger was taken into custody without incident.
This news of his arrest came as a shock to the small community near the Poconos.
I'm lost of words because this place is known to be like a nice place, like it's a tourist place. It's the Mount Poconos. I mean, to hear this, it's so real for me. To be honest with you, it feels like a dream at this point.
Not only is the area better known for its scenic mountain getaways, it's more than 2,500 miles from the crime scene. Bryan Kohberger waived his right to an extradition hearing inside of this courthouse in front of a judge and a packed courtroom that included his family. That waiver started the process for his transport back to Idaho to face those 4 counts of first-degree murder.
Idaho does not release their probable cause affidavit in support of their arrest warrant until after their defendant is returned to that state. But having read those documents and the sealed affidavits of probable cause, I definitely believe that one of the main reasons the defendant chose to waive extradition and hurry his return back to Idaho was the need to know what was in those documents.
Those documents are expected to reveal some of the evidence against Kohberger, including details about a white Hyundai Elantra the police say was in the vicinity of the victim's apartment around the time of the murders. Kohberger was driving a similar car when he was pulled over by Indiana police on December 15th. He was with his father on their way from Washington State back to their home in Pennsylvania. Kohberger was a graduate student at Washington State University in Pullman, the campus just minutes away from the apartment where the victims were slain.
Their young lives were ended far too soon. In law enforcement, we understand the best thing we can do for victims and their families is to follow every lead, collect every piece of evidence, and bring those responsible to justice.
Kohberger lived most of his life here in Pennsylvania. It's where he went to school and worked and received most of his degrees. Now it's the location of his highly publicized arrest. Reporting in Monroe County, Pennsylvania, Julia Jenaé, Court TV.
All right, thanks to Julia. And Chanley still with us, criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor Bryan Silber in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Bryan, you're with your prosecutor hat on. This is a high-profile case, a case that, frankly, some people have criticized. The little moves. It's so many eyeballs that there's a lot of armchair quarterbacking going on. You got to think they have some fairly significant evidence, no?
Well, there's definitely something there. They didn't arrest somebody for no reason. The probable cause affidavit is not going to be blank, but that doesn't mean that this guy is guilty. Okay, we need to see what is in there. What's the substance of it? What are they basing this on? Think of all the people that go to trial and are found not guilty. Every one of those people had a beginning just like this guy. Okay, think of all the people that were exonerated by the Innocence Project who are on death row and avoided a death penalty. They all began just like this guy. Okay, so
except the eyeballs. A lot of those people had nobody gatekeeping, nobody watching, and they got bamboozled.
I disagree with that. They had law enforcement watching. These are very serious investigations where you have detectives going over every element, every lead with a fine-tooth comb. So it doesn't mean that it was handled correctly, but it doesn't necessarily mean it was handled incorrectly. We're kind of trying to read the tea leaves here. But I'll tell you one thing that really, really sticks out in my mind, because I really hope they got the right guy. I really do, because this case is a major tragedy. Every single photo I see of this gentleman, there isn't a single scar on him. There isn't a single nick. There isn't a single cut. Now, I understand that some of these photos may have been taken a month after the homicides, but you would think somebody who stabbed 4 people to death, some of which displayed defensive wounds, he would have to have something. I think of the O.J. Simpson case. He was acquitted, but a big deal was made about the cut that he had on his hand, if you recall. When I see this kid, I see a clean slate. There's nothing on his face. There's nothing on his neck. When they show the photos that reveal like his clavicle area, you don't see anything there. I would expect to see at least a scar, a scab, something, but there's absolutely nothing. So I'm being very skeptical. That's what my job is. I'm here to ask questions, but it's my prayer that they really did get the right guy, and we'll see.
That's your defense attorney hat, which you have. You've got lots of hats. Private eye hat. You're the...
My prosecutor hat.
Yeah.
I disagree. That's my prosecutor hat. A prosecutor is a minister of justice. They're supposed
they signed
to get
off
the
on
bad
this,
guys.
right? So
we'll see. I don't know yet. We'll see.
Yeah. What are you going to look for in this? What should the general public be looking for in this this affidavit when it is released, probable cause affidavit? Anything specific that you're going to want to see, or if it isn't there, it might raise an eyebrow?
Yes, I want the public to pay attention to the bigger picture. Okay, don't get distracted by the big ticket items, the red herrings. Remember, behind every piece of evidence is procedure. Okay, take DNA, for example. You don't just like go test DNA. It has to be collected properly. It has to be transported properly. It has to be stored properly. It has to be tested properly. You know, think of all the steps that go into doing a blood draw at your doctor's office. Okay, they use a special vial. They use a special needle. You know, it goes into a refrigerator. You know, there's all these little machinations behind every single piece of evidence, and you can't just take things at face value. The defense's job is to investigate these details and make sure that law enforcement is correct in what they're saying. And remember, I'm not saying law enforcement would intentionally do anything wrong, but they also come to the table with their own biases, okay? And they're human beings. They make mistakes too, especially when they have a high-profile case that they're eager to solve, okay? So the details is where the truth is going to lie, and that's what we need to see. And that's what I would say the public should reserve judgment until the finer details come out.
All right, we shall see. Again, we're expecting him to make that initial court appearance at the bottom of next hour, so an hour and 20 minutes from now. And of course, our team is in place in Idaho.